I'm pretty sure you'll have seen COP27 in the news. It's the latest global gathering to try and thrash out what we're all going to do about climate change. Last year, it was in Glasgow. This time, it's Egypt. But this is a conversation that's been going on for years.
It is mankind and his activities which are changing the environment of our planet in damaging and dangerous ways.
The Earth Summit has opened in Rio.
The spirit of Rio must embody the full awareness of the fragility of our planet.
It's so decided.
There are still hard challenges ahead.
Close. Relief at the end of this marathon session. There's quite a gap between the aims of this conference and its outcomes.
It will take more than this to definitively tackle climate change.
It would take more. And in 2015, a new goal was set, 1.5.
L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
We'd never seen a global climate deal like Paris before. Almost every country in the world signed up to a common goal to limit the global average temperature rise to well below 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels. Ideally, though, the limit would be 1.5 degrees. 1.5. We'd hear it again and again. This is what the world needed to do, we were told. But 7 years on from Paris, has 1.5 gone? Is it actually possible anymore? Last month, the UN Environment Programme said there's no credible pathway to 1.5 degrees in place. It says with current policies, we're on track for 2.8 degrees of warming by the end of the century. If all carbon cutting pledges are implemented, well, then it would be between 2.4 and 2.6. That's the UN's projection. Here's another. The blue line here is where current policies get us. The yellow shows pledges and targets included too. The red, that's what's needed for 1.5. It's not close. That said, progress has been made. When the Paris deal was done in 2015, global warming was projected at 3.5 degrees. As we've seen, that's come down significantly. And the US climate envoy John Kerry thinks 1.5 remains possible.
It's absolutely accurate to say that currently, on the current track, no, we will not make it. But that's not to say that if countries stepped up and did more, we couldn't make it.
Getting countries to step up, though, is, of course, what's proving difficult. But John Kerry has a broader point, that this isn't 1.5 or bust, that every tenth of a degree matters. And that was backed up by a major UN report on the difference between global warming of 1.5 and of 2 degrees. It says 99% of coral reefs, for example, would be wiped out at 2 degrees of warming. Or there's global sea levels. They'd rise by about 10 centimetres more at 2 degrees. And keeping to 1.5 means that 10 million fewer people would be exposed to the risks of flooding. And to be clear, this isn't just about the future. Right now, the world is over 1.1 degrees warmer than pre-industrial levels, and that's already impacting our weather, with more heat waves, more droughts, more floods. And at this week's climate conference in Egypt, the UN Secretary General put it this way.
That 1.5 degree goal is on life support and the machines are rattling. We are getting dangerously close to the point of no return.
These are difficult messages to hear, but that's not to say there's no good news about climate action. To understand this better, we got in touch with climate scientist Professor Emily Shukborough. Thanks for coming to see us.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so the picture around 1.5 is, to say the very least, difficult, but are there things that we can concentrate on, things that we can highlight where we can at least say, look, some serious progress is being made?
It's difficult, right? So there are glimmers of optimism within what's otherwise quite a bleak
Tell me about the
picture.
glimmers.
So the glimmers of optimism are in terms of the rollout of renewable energy technologies globally. If you look at the only graphs in the climate world that you see that are going in the right direction as opposed to the wrong direction is the global adoption of photovoltaics, solar energy, the global adoption of wind energy, the global adoption of electric vehicles, and similarly, the only graphs that are going down in the right direction are the price of all those things.
Which countries do you look at and think, my goodness, they really are making progress now on renewables?
Well, actually, the UK is not doing badly. So the UK, if you look at UK emissions over the last 30 years, they've pretty much halved at the same time as the economy has grown. It's basically because we don't use coal to generate our electricity any longer. I sit in a university and if I look at the technologies that are being developed, so battery technologies, if it's looking at greening industrial processes, green steel, for example, is really developing now. These are all happening, and that's our path to solving all of this. It's doable. So we shouldn't give up on 1.5 because a plan could be put together to get there if only there was the global commitment.
Thanks for coming to see us.
That's okay.